now we're coming to the highlight here. I have somebody really special to introduce to you. It's a great honor. He has a personal journey and a professional success here on this campus. Rick Jackson is the chairman and CEO of Jackson Healthcare, one of the largest healthcare staffing and technology companies in the U.S. Under his leadership, Jackson Healthcare has earned national recognition for its exceptional workplace culture and community impact. But beyond his role as a visionary leader in business, Rick brings a personal connection to the mission we're celebrating tonight. As a former foster youth himself, Rick knows firsthand the obstacles young people face, the kind of support that can truly change a life. Through his leadership, generosity, and deep commitment to Georgia's youth, Rick helped spearhead the creation of the Fostering Success Act, turning a bold idea into a statewide movement that now provides millions in critical support services. Please join me in giving a warm and heartfelt welcome to Rick Jackson.
Well, I won't speak since I got a standing ovation. Well, thank you for being here. This is just amazing to have this many people, and thanks for all the volunteers. I saw. These are people that just got off of work and are doing this, and so I really appreciate you guys doing that. I saw somebody who I deal with in accounting all ago, and I said, "Is that Erin?" And she, "Yeah, that's her." Okay. All right, so let me tell you a story and then try to hopefully give you something to think about tonight. All right, so I had an alcoholic mother, 6th grade education, no father. She was a waitress. I went to 8 different elementary schools. Lived in what was the slums back then in Atlanta called Techwood Homes and Sells Avenue on the southwest side of Atlanta, and then, apartments over here for 3 months and all that kind of stuff. I can see people shaking their head and so forth. Then when on my 13th birthday, I actually had an uncle who was in a wheelchair that used his welfare check. My mother went home drunk with whoever, one of my stepfathers, and I didn't want to go home. And I told him I was just going to run away or something like that. So he took his $66 welfare check and said, the state has programs that might be able to help you. So he used that check, called a taxi. They put him in a wheelchair. And so I went into DFACS at that point in time. They were going to put me in a juvenile home because when you run away, they can do that. But then they were able to verify that I should be there. And so went into 4 or 5 foster homes and Methodist Children's Home, which we have a previous CEO of Methodist Children's Home. And so, and then graduated in high school, wanted to go to college. I worked 3 jobs in my first semester. We didn't have, I worked at JCPenney selling shoes from 5:30 to 9:30, went from 11:30 to 2:30 in the morning to load trucks for UPS. And so, but I ran out of money. But I met my wife at 19. We got married, moved in a trailer, moved back to Atlanta. Long story short, so I aged out and didn't have any resources, and you guys know what that's like. I mean, I tell people that don't know about you guys, I said, I want you to imagine you're 18 years old, your mom and dad come in and say, good luck, don't call me anymore. And I said, now, think about the fact that you didn't have a mother or father or anybody, and then what would you do? And that's the situation you guys have all faced in one level or another, and so I know that. So then I became a serial entrepreneur. I was 21 years old. I was very entrepreneurial when I was a kid. I sold, when I was 10 to 12 years old at Georgia Tech, I would scout tickets. Yeah, back then, we tried to look poor with having holes in the pants. Now that's a glamour. And say, has anybody got any tickets? And they'd say, yeah. And I said, they said, well, come on in. And I said, well, can I go get my friend? Can you give me, yeah. Then I go to the other corner and I'd sell them. I think Kevin must have done that because he's So then God really blessed us. For the first half of my career, I did a lot of new companies in healthcare and so forth like that, and really started over. I didn't go bankrupt, but the company I was running did go bankrupt, and it took me 4 years to start over in 2000, which started today. When we started over, Jackson Healthcare, in 2000, we were doing about $30 million of revenue. Today we did over $3 billion last year. So I'm in a state Senate hearing testifying downtown, and we were talking about foster care. I was thinking about trying to privatize or do something like they did in Florida. But anyway, so after I got through testifying, the state senator said, well, Mr. Jackson, thanks for coming down here. We don't see many CEOs testify. But, you know, I've been down here 17 years. I never even heard the words foster care in the legislation. Guy's been there 17, and it hit me right between the eyes. I said, here's the problem. These guys have no advocate. They don't have an association or lobbyist or anything like that. There's a lot of nonprofit companies that, you know, reach out and try to help what they can. And when I'm talking about having influence and advocacy, I'm talking about being able to talk to the governor or the speaker and other people and leaders and lieutenant governor and so forth like that. That's what foster care needed. And so I decided, because I know the value of focus, I'm going to drop everything else and use all my influence. Sometimes you can do more with your influence than your affluence. I'm going to use all my influence to do whatever I can in Georgia to affect policy and legislation here in Georgia. And so I started that about 6 or 7 years ago, and we've passed a few bills and so forth. Then I learned about you guys, and I was actually a little bit surprised. I knew about foster care. We have a Faith Bridge Foster Care since 2008. We have a couple hundred kids in Christian homes and so forth, and it makes a huge difference because it did to me when I was growing up. But I didn't know about the plight when you left foster care. I knew what happened to me. I just thought maybe that was unique or something like that. When I found out, basically said, this is a huge problem. You don't have a lot of options. I mean, nobody. I don't care who you are. What you guys have come through is amazing. It's amazing. It really is. So I identified I come up as a business person. The definition of a business to me is a solution to a problem. And so I came up with two problems that I felt like that you guys had. Number one, you had really no mentor or anybody in your life that really you could rely on. And number two, you had no money. And, you know, not only, you can get tuition, but, you know, they passed a bill about free tuition and all that for foster care, which didn't actually work well. But then that doesn't pay the rent, doesn't put food on your table and give you transportation and get back to school and so forth. And so I said, all right, well, I knew something about tax credits and other things. And so in 2021 to 22, I worked with the governor, lieutenant governor. In fact, when I met Brian Kemp for the first time, I basically said, when you think of me, I will never ask anything for our company or for me. You just think of foster care. That's all, because I wanted to focus on that. And so that's what we've done. Well, we passed Fostering Success Act, and as she said, 100% both sides. It was a unanimous decision, and it was it's the first one in the United States. And so, and then we started 2 years ago, and I think we have over 500 kids in college. Throughout the system, we have at least 500 kids in college in 2 years. And that is a huge difference between what some of the options are and so forth like that. So now, once I did that, so let me talk to you now about a few things. I don't believe in some of the current narrative that you hear out there. I'm sure none of you experienced this, but when I was in the slums, we were told we would never make it because the man is going to, oppress you and so forth like that. And I know that's more of a black concept, but back then, the man was a rich person. And so you couldn't make it and so forth. I was told I'd never be successful. Some of that narrative is today. People are becoming what I call a professional victim. Let me give you some news. The American dream is alive for you guys. It's alive. The situation that you're in or you became in as a foster child was not your fault. Was not your fault. You were put there due to circumstances that you couldn't control, whether it's your parents or drugs, whatever, doesn't matter. I had it a lot easier than most of you guys in here, to be honest. I mean, the stories are unbelievable. But, so it's not your fault. But here's what I want to tell you. From now on, if you're not successful, it will be your fault. Okay? Now, I'm not trying to blame you. That's not my point. You want to know how to be successful? That's the first thing you need to understand. So I don't know about you. I'm a different kind of control freak. I don't need to control you or anybody else, period. But I do have to have control of me because I was in the home where I was totally out of control. And it was just, a pretty bad environment. And so it's just really important. And so guess what? I did not want to rely on any other human being. No government, nobody. And I'm telling you, that kind of ownership is the first step for you to be successful. The first step. Reject this narrative that you hear that you can't make it. And there's two kinds of people. The oppressors and the oppressed. To tell a child or a person they'll never make it because of who they are or where they are or what color they are or where they came from or whatever, I think it's the most demeaning thing in the world because it hurts your identity and your self-image and so forth. I'm glad to see Kevin Willis here. We've been talking about basketball. He played against Jordan, Bird, and Johnson, all those great guys, and they were not professional victims. They knew they had to pay the price, work hard in order to be successful, and so that was a key. So here are a few principles I've learned to be successful I want you to think about. Number one, take ownership of your failures, okay? Don't blame somebody else. So if I blame you because I didn't succeed, I can't control you. I can't control somebody else. I can only control me. So if I take ownership, by the way, that doesn't feel good to admit you failed. I get it. But I won't tell you, you won't believe this. You're going to think I'm lying right now. You will not meet another business person that's failed more than me. Okay? But my point, but you own it. It was my fault. It wasn't the bank's fault. It wasn't the market's fault. There was, the question is, what could I have done differently? What can I learn from that? I was once asked by some sixth grade kids I was teaching in Sunday school 100 years ago. They said, Mr. Jackson, how do you make $1 million? And I said, you're asking the wrong question. The question is, what could you do that's worth $2 million to somebody else. See, that's different. That's a different concept than me making $1 million. You have to think about what you can do for somebody else. Here's a principle from Zig Ziglar. You can have anything in your life you want if you'll just help other people get what they want. If you want to be successful, everybody you meet, you try to figure out a way to do something that's in their best interest. And don't do it to be selfish, just do it. I just want you to try it. I want you to think of others and try to help them and help them make money, your teammates, your encourage and so forth. You will be successful, I guarantee you. It's a very biblical thing, to be honest. The other thing in communication with people, you have conflicts with people, and I'm going to give you one little nugget that will help you. Most arguments are over discussions because you don't understand them, they don't understand you. Have you ever had arguments with somebody, argued for a while, and then later on they say, well, I didn't know you meant that. Okay, so this will eliminate 80% of your arguments right here. Here's what I want you to do. When you're having a conversation with anybody about anything, I want you to seek first to understand before you are understood. And the reason is that people don't say what they mean. They have different words, they're emotional, whatever. So, and the most basic human need ever is for you to feel understood by another human being. That's why there's a lot of psychiatrists out there, because, regular people don't listen to you, but so you go to them and they listen to you. Okay. But my point is that once you understand somebody else, number one, there's an emotional bond when somebody shares something. Number two, when they think you listen to them, that's good. The other thing is then you can say, okay, what can I do to help this person based off what I heard there? So that's a little tidbit there. The definition to me of success is just getting up one more time. You own your failures. Yes, I failed. Whose fault is it? It's mine. Okay? That doesn't feel good, so what am I going to do different next time? That's what you want to do and learn. You apply it, and then, for you guys, forgive yourself. If you fail, okay. Failure is a situation. It's not a life. Like I said, you just have to get up one more time, then you fall down to be successful. And so, but you need to forgive yourself. Now, I will tell you, you ought to forgive others as well, because it's not productive to hold grudges against people and all that. If you own and you adopt this concept of if it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, it's up to me. That's the key to success, where you're not depending on somebody else. I call it burning your headlights versus your taillights. So here, other principle that's our number one principle of our culture, we call others first. Now, what does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean others only. I don't want you to become a professional victim, okay? I don't want you to be a doormat. That's not the point. But in every situation, think of the other person first. And I can't tell you, we have developed 5 or 6 of our businesses over asking a question of a client, saying, what problems do you have? And then I would find out other people have that problem, and I create a business to solve that problem, because I was thinking about them. I wasn't just trying to sell my widget or doctors or something like that. I was thinking about them. And when you think of others first, everything is so much better. In my opinion, that's what Jesus did. He looked at other people, and he didn't judge them, but he thought of them first, of what they needed. And whether you're religious or not, I am telling you, that's like gold. It's a rule that really, really works when you think of somebody else. I want you to even just try it. One of the things I told somebody that they need to understand, and the PR people here get frustrated with me on this stuff, but it's not about me. Not about you either. Okay? It's about others. If you will think of others first, then you will be very, very successful. If you take ownership, think of others first, and work hard, and you have an opportunity. A lot of you guys are taking advantage of it. In my opinion, the guys in this room that went through foster care, you're so much more resilient than these privileged kids that's had everything in their whole life. You're just, you've been through crap. Yeah. Right. And I don't want to begrudge that, but the negative of being handed everything is you don't have any challenges so far. You guys have not been handed everything. You've had challenge after challenge after challenge, and then you made a decision. This opportunity came up. You made a decision. I'm going to do something with this opportunity and make something out of myself. I'm going to be better than my family. Anybody ever said that? I'm going to achieve more than my family. I want to get away from that environment. I want to do something different. And then lastly, before I leave with a story, no matter what happens to you guys, and I think you're better at it than most of them, I'll tell you, but no matter what happens, what problems you have, what grades you fail, what class, what problems you have with other people, whatever, I want you to remember this: never, never give up. Period. Just keep on getting up and going back and doing it. I want to leave you with a story. There's a guy named Zig Ziglar. He said it's it's one of the greatest love stories. He said, and he said, of course, the greatest love stories will never be told. They will be between two people that love each other, and nobody will ever know about it. But so Zig was a speaker that spoke about 50 times a year, traveling, and so maybe 100 times a year, I guess. So he liked to golf, and he didn't get to golf much. So, but he also wanted to be with his son and his wife. And he said he came up with this fantastic idea. He was going to basically have his son and wife golf, learn how to golf and golf with them. They could be together and all that. And he said, and everybody thought it was a great idea, except my wife and my son. So they didn't do it, didn't work. So on Wednesday night, about a year later, they were passing the driving range coming home from church on a Wednesday night, and his son said, "Hey, Dad, you want to go hit a few balls?" And he goes, "Well, of course, that'd be great." So sure enough, his son goes out, and his son is just killing the ball. And he said, "You want to play Saturday, Dad?" And he goes, "Absolutely." So Zig is, he's an accomplished golfer. And he basically says, okay, we get on the first hole, and his son hits it right down the middle. It's a par 4. That means if you can get it in 4, you're a pro on this specific hole. And he was just so unbelievable. His son was just ecstatic and all that kind of stuff. And then they hit the second one. His son hits it on the green in 2. All right, that means if he puts it in, it's a birdie. I mean, and trust me, I've golfed a lot of years before I hit a birdie, so he's all excited and all that. So anyway, so they get on the green, and Zig is saying, okay, now it's going to curve this way, it's going to do this way, and you got to, just hold it steady, you can do it. And sure enough, his son putts, and it goes right into the hole. Zig was just jumping up and down, just excited and all that kind of stuff. And he said, but he had a problem after that. He was also putting for a birdie. So does he go lame? Does he give him a cheat, whatever? He didn't know what to do. He said, well, I went ahead and putted. He said, so he putted, and it went in. As his son said, good shot, Dad. He said, tell me the truth. Were you pulling for me on that hole? He goes, Dad, I always pull for you. always pull for you. I want you guys to know I will always, always pull for you. Good luck. Thank you.
Wow. Was that a great message?
Yeah. We want a copy.
You want a copy? Okay, I'll see if I can work on that for you. I don't know really what to say to follow up to that. What an amazing, thank you, Rick. Like, just his heart for you, and it's contagious. And that's why all these people in the room are here to serve you, because we care and you're worth it. None of what you've been through does not define you. You are in control of your future. We're excited to see where it takes you and coming back and bring those stories to us. We don't want you to just finish your school and move on. We want to know, what are you doing with your life? So please stay in touch and let us know. That is a wrap for our Fostering Thanksgiving event. I hope this has shared a little bit about what it's like to sit at a table with family and have a nice meal together. This is what Thanksgiving should be. And I hope it gives you something to look forward to and to build in your lives as you get older. Have a safe trip home. Thank you for being here. Have a great rest of your week. Thanks.
Hey, Chris.